Hey world, it's Ben. Want to come back to another video. In fact, I want to come back to this video because anytime I come across some information on the wire, the television, and just by doing my natural research, I have to bring it to the family. And this is important because if you're ever wondering, like, man, wait a minute, if they just, approve the CARES Act and they disperse this money, right? We're as citizens and individuals are only looking at the fact that they dispersed $1,200 um, stimulus checks to us. Okay, $500 per dependent, right? But what we don't take in consideration, and why this thing is just so political, has nothing to do with us, is that if you live in a particular state, like I'm in Texas, right? And in cities like Houston and Austin and Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, you know, those cities in Texas from the CARES Act, right off the cuff, received like $178 million. Okay. And a lot of that money was designated to go to, of course, to help out state and local um, situations, i.e., if people, needed funds to stay in their homes, if people that was not working because the jobs were furloughed, or because the government told the particular business owners to shut down, that $178 million that each city received that had over 500,000 people living there, if the population is over $500,000, those states or those cities automatically receive millions of dollars. Now you got to ask yourself, okay, well, if the cities over 500,000 population was automatically receive a federal check, right? What about the cities that's under that population level? What happened to them? Exactly. See, that's what's not on the television. That's what's not on the news. Majority of every town and city in America that's under 500,000 in population still struggling, still going through red tape trying to get money from the CARES Act. Now remember, they about to pass another stimulus package. But the first stimulus package money hasn't been dispersed. And so like when you look at this thing and you hear these guys, and that's why I say it's important to stay on top of geopolitical news. When you hear the Democrats say, we don't want to pass this new CARES, we don't want to pass the new stimulus package because we want to make sure we give state and local governments, more money. I think they want like trillions of dollars. I think they want $3 trillion to go to all this, to be dispersed and go to the states and local governments. But then you look at the Republicans saying, well, why do we need to give the states all this money when we just gave them billions of dollars and they still haven't used it? So now you got to ask yourself the question: if you live in these, in these states, which we are, if you live in New York, New Jersey, Texas, whatever, you got to ask yourself, then why aren't they dispersing the money? Okay. Well, see, that's the trick. Even though they gave all this money or dispersed all this money, because each state in the original stimulus package, each state received $1.25 billion. Each state received that. Others, now, according to the size of your state, will depend on your disbursement. I know Texas got like $14 billion, right? Other states got more money, but every state got at least $1.25 billion in the first CARES Act. You got to ask yourself, well, why do I still see homeless people? Why are people still being evicted from their homes? Okay. Why is it that the schools, okay, are short laptops for the kids? You force us to do virtual learning, virtual teaching, rather. Every kid should be accommodated. Why isn't that? And so when you hear President Trump says he doesn't want to give money to the states, it's because they already have the money. But when you ask yourself, then why aren't they dispersing the money? Well, if you look at all the stipulations and all the red tape that goes into disbursements, the states need like a super auditor to figure that out. But at the same time, then why not just disperse the money to those that need it in a more proficient manner, right? It's not supposed to go to us. I mean, that's all. I mean, let's keep it 1,000. If billions of dollars were given to the states in the first CARES Act, there shouldn't be any shortages. And then the states will say, no, we need more money. It didn't cover it. But see, that's when you got to pull out, you got to ask yourself, okay, where's the auditor? Okay, where's the purchase statements? Where's the flow? Where's the cash flow statements? Where's the income statement? Because we need to see where's this money going? Because there are too many millions of people that are still struggling. I mean, Trump just yesterday just signed an executive order to increase, not increase, but to recontinue the unemployment benefits for I think up to $400, not $600, but up to $400. Okay, but then you got to ask yourself, what about the stimulus check? Right? Nothing in that. So please, family, November's coming up. All right, vote on your local level. I mean, it has to be some impasse out here that has the, the compassion, not only compassion, but the support to help facilitate the situation on a local level. It's not going to happen federally or statewide. They didn't prove that. If the federal government gave each state at least $1.25 billion in the first CARES Act, what? Why is it so many? And then guess what? You got to realize they did have in their provision that some of that money should be designated to take care of the homeless. I don't see it. I don't see it. So, like I said, family, it's like diversions, 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 but then they not explaining to you exactly the provisions of this money which belongs to us. Because remember, family, this is taxpayers' money. The U.S. Treasury is dispersing it, meaning it's coming from our taxpayers' accounts, but it's not coming to us. And that's what you need to think about, okay? So like I said, if you're thinking about voting, you're thinking about getting this thing in order, it has to start at the local level, family. It has to start at the school board level, okay? And it can't be political, It has to be spiritual, because as spiritual beings, we're all connected. And so that connectivity need to be led by someone with a large spark, okay, that can spark the masses. Okay, in a spiritual fashion, not a political fashion, not an economic fashion, but what's right. You dig? So, fam, I just want to come back with a little update, a little food for thought, some real news versus fake news. Like I say, all this money that's out there that's been dispersed to the states, don't let them play games. When you're watching the television and you're trying to stay on top of what's going on, your mind and your common sense is going to tell you everything you need to know. If you're in your city and your city is less than $500,000, 500,000 people in the population, you guys didn't even get the money you need. So the states are still sitting on all this money. All right. So if I just want to come back with a love, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And in the meantime, between time, may the Most High Inside to bring you joy and being what is out of 5,000.